This is the Libertarian Dilettante, and welcome to episode 11 of Airline Club. So, when we left off, we were waiting on a plane to fly to Baghdad and set up a base there. I'm ready to do that now. So I will plan a flight from London to Baghdad. We see the demand is very strong. There's currently no competition. And if I look at the airport, there's still no one who has set up a base here. So I think it should be fairly promising. I'll need to establish the route before I can set up a base. And of course I have a plane available to do that. Oh wait, I have no slots in London. I had assumed I would gain slots over time, but for whatever reason, that hasn't happened. It's not a disaster, however. As I mentioned, I can just steal slots from... this is my largest route in terms of slots. This one might be slightly less profitable. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll just take them from here because it will make the least relative difference. Oh, I didn't actually hit update. Okay. That should free up 3 slots, unless there's been some kind of trouble in London. No. I was at 0, but I hadn't dropped down into the negatives, which can happen, especially if you lower service quality, or it might be because I've been raising prices so much that they don't want to give me more slots. The airports are kind of picky about that. Okay, London to Baghdad, using this fancy plane. I will lower the price. Actually, there's no need to do that because there's 10 times the amount of demand as what I'm providing, plus any transfer people who might want to fly on this. So I will just leave it at the default though, because it's a brand new route. Okay, and now for the fun part. We view the airport. Oh, come on. This country does not allow airline bases from your country. Okay, I should have read the fine print on this. Country market openness, no foreign airline bases. That would explain the failure of everyone else to open a base in Baghdad. Well, the route itself is still fine though. As we saw, there was tons of demand, so over time I'll be able to add more flights to that. I could open another route with that same plane to somewhere in Russia maybe, but I'm actually a little bit reluctant to do that because I can't afford to keep buying that same model of plane, and I really want to increase the number of flights on this particular route. Now I've got $26 million that I don't have any particular plans for, but I'll deal with that later. For now, I'm going to check how many slots I have here in Naples, and I'll be just adding those to an existing route, probably because I don't want to mess with too much. But if I check my existing routes and sort by load factor, we see this is brand new, so of course it's at 0, and we see this one is at 36%, which obviously is pretty terrible. Somehow I'm still turning a profit, which is a testament to the efficiency of the Embraer 120 and my high ticket prices. But if we look, one of the things to check is, was there a price increase that caused this? And maybe, right, I bumped up the price a bit, and it does seem like maybe it hurt demand a little bit, but probably not this much. And if we continue scrolling on, we see the real problem here is competition. So Air Italy has come in, and they're flying about 5 times as many passengers as I am, and they're offering cheaper prices, and they're offering better quality. So it's no mystery why people are opting for the competitor's airline. Now, perhaps my first instinct is to say, well, I won't stand for this. This was my route first. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with Air Italy. So let's find out a little bit more about them. What are they all about? Rivals. They are my rival. And I've already searched for them. So they are right here. I can just use Control F, obviously, to find an airline by its name. And we see that they're one of the top airlines, like one of the top 10 or whatever. So they are pretty big. And if we look at their flight map, we see, they definitely have a bigger network than I do. So they're going to be able to pull in a lot more passengers from Naples. They don't have a hub in Copenhagen as well, which would be the worst case scenario, I guess. But clearly they just outclass me. And if we do a search, Naples to Copenhagen, we see they have the best deal and the best seller. Oh, it's faster than our route too. Even though they're both direct flights, my plane is slower, so it takes an extra half hour. And they're using the 737 MAX 10. Now in this game there are no airplane crashes, and the 737 MAX series is not grounded and has no problems whatsoever. So it's a fine choice. If we look, I'm already sorted by family. Maybe. No, I'm not. Okay, so I want to find out, what are they using here? This 737 MAX 10. Can I start doing that and go toe-to-toe with them? Not unless I have $132 million to spend on a plane. And I clearly don't. So I'm just not equipped to go head-to-head against an established airline. They're much bigger than I am. But it's not particularly a problem for me because I'm somewhat diversified, right? I've got all these routes. If I lose one of them, it's not the end of the world. So at this point I have two options. I can either close down the route, or I can become a budget provider on that route. And honestly, it might make more sense to just close it down, but for now, let me think about this. How many slots am I using up? Quite a lot. So just because it is a bit of an initial investment and I want to see how things play out, I will cut back to 4 flights a week, and I will drop my price down to, that's pretty well below theirs. And I do have a bit of awareness established. This route has been going for a little while anyway. So I will update that. Oh, one more thing I'm going to take a look at. This little hourglass gives me more information, and you can really see the level of disparity. So Air Italy has much more loyalty built up in Naples, and it has maximum awareness. They don't have any loyalty or awareness in Copenhagen yet, but I'm really only getting started myself, so that doesn't count as too much of a lead. It's certainly eclipsed by their lead in Naples. And then if we look at the network, which is Self Plus Alliance, we see I have a little bit of a following in Naples, but nothing compared to Air Italy. And they have apparently an ally in Copenhagen because they just started flying there, and yet there's already a well-established network of people who are familiar with this Air Alliance. So I'm concluding that there must be an Air Italy allied airline already in Copenhagen providing connecting flights, and further solidifying the lead that Air Italy has over me on this route. Nevertheless, I can come in as a budget airline and provide something that they're not. I just can't possibly hope to compete on the same level. And the other thing about this small network that I have is that they might be coming from different cities, because even though Air Italy has a lot more passengers from Naples, mine might be coming in from somewhere else. So it's not necessarily 100% direct competition, or at least that's my understanding. Okay, so I freed up some routes in Naples, or some slots, I mean, and I'm going to check my list. One of the interesting places that I can fly to is, where is this? It's a London airport, and even though I already fly from Naples to London, as I mentioned earlier, the different airports are kind of independent from one another. So here, there's competition. It slightly exceeds the direct demand. Not the end of the world, but it's not that attractive either. Here at London Biggin, they also get the Olympic bonus. And we can see it's pretty substantial. So it does cost $390,000 to establish. Even after the Olympic bonus goes away, there should be a bit of demand. I'll use up these flights, and I may as well go for 2 more to fill up my 5 available slots from Naples. That takes me to 150, and that would exceed even the demand prior to the Olympics. So by the time the Olympics end, I should easily have this built up enough that I could support more than 150 passengers. So I think it'll be a good route. Now, was there anything else I need to look at? Naples to Copenhagen, obviously, cutting those flights means that I now have a greater proportion filled relative to what I'm offering. Naples to Genoa, there's no competition. I've probably just raised the price a little too high, so I could just wait it out, but I'm going to back off a little bit and see if that helps. London to Foggia. Perhaps, again, I've raised the price a bit too much. Oh no, that's actually just a cancellation. So there is no reason to adjust this at all. Naples to Warsaw. Same thing. It's just a flight cancellation. I can't really do too much about that. It just happens sometimes. All the rest of my routes are at 100%. This one's actually at 113 because I pulled flights off of it even though it was already full. And my plans for Asian domination have been stymied. I guess I'll have to consider them more carefully and come up with a better plan. So I don't have too much else to do right now, I think. I'm out of slots in London. I'm out of slots in Naples. And I'm not going to open a base just because I have money sitting around. I'd rather take some time and think about it and probably open a brand new route, unless one of these, I guess Warsaw would be the one that I would consider because it's the largest. But so far, everything that I've done in this game, other than just look at information, I've done on video. But I'm thinking that now that we're over 10 episodes in, I might start doing videos less frequently and just checking in once in a while. I think that after 10 videos, we've gotten to see how I operate, and we've seen that it's certainly possible to open a new airline in big cities such as Istanbul, London, and Naples, and to succeed there. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll probably continue the episode from a later point, but from now on, I won't necessarily be doing everything that I do on camera. Hello again and welcome back. So it's been quite a while since the last segment. Quite a bit of time has passed in the game, and I've opened up a new base here in Izmir, Turkey. It's not doing all that much really, but I have some new routes into Turkey and a few back into Europe. Actually just those two, and those are both within 1,000 kilometers, so they're not using up my international flights slots. But overall this base is pretty small. I haven't upgraded it yet, and it probably doesn't have a great deal of potential, so I might not hold on to it forever. I'm not sure yet. The other thing I've been doing is upgrading to larger planes here in London. And one of those planes has arrived, and I'm going to put it to use now. So it seems like I still have quite a bit of potential out of London. One thing to make note of, if we go to the office, is I can only add one more route before I have to upgrade the base that I have there, and doing that costs about $50 million. But I can borrow that if I need to, that's no trouble. So I'm wondering what to do with the money I have available, and I'm thinking I will just buy another one of those Embraer 170-200s. Now this is the plane that the first time I didn't buy it, I thought, oh, I'll just always use this E-Jet because it's very similar, but it has more range. But it turns out a lot of my routes are pretty short range, and so it just makes more sense to use the shorter range plane. I mean, I'm replacing something that has even less range than this, so I will go ahead and continue to use it. If I want to, I can also use this in Naples and free up slots there, where I have plenty more flights available if I want to start adding new flights. So I will place an order for this. I'll go ahead and default it to London. It's fine if I need to move it. There's no cost to do that. So I placed the order. I still have 6 million available, but there's not a whole lot that I can do with that. The last thing I want to do right now is take a look at the Olympics event. So I guess there's a sort of goal to meet. It probably depends on the size of your airline, and the game assigned me a goal of transporting 2,000 Olympics passengers. And if I do that, I think I get a cash bonus or something at the end, so I'll have to watch for that. Because my headquarters is in London, I transport a relatively high number of people to London, and so I'm exceeding my weekly goal by a factor of 10, and I've already exceeded my total goal by about 600%. So I'm doing well there, obviously, and if there's any kind of a cash bonus, I'm sure I'll be getting something. Oh, this is the other thing. So there are 6 more weeks until the start of the games, and then the games themselves last 4 weeks. So there's a total of 10 more weeks that I can cash in on this heavy traffic to London, and I assume in the last 4 weeks it intensifies. I think I heard something like that. In any case, I'll watch out for that when it happens. And then, of course, after that, I'll have to readjust my London routes. So just to recap, for the most part, I've just been sitting back and making money. Here's my income sheet. You can see I make about 2.5 million per week. And I really just need to take time to build up some cash and become a larger airline. My phase of rapid growth is sort of over. I maybe could have
borrowed more aggressively and opened another base and continued to grow bigger before kind of plateauing. But I'm content to do it like this. In the future, I'll probably give some thought to getting champion points by transporting one of the highest number of passengers in a particular country. But that's pretty competitive, so I would have to build up a good reserve of cash, I think, and pick my countries pretty carefully. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.